So these are government hackers, organized crime, and hacktivists. Back in the day, you used to be able to tell them apart. You could say, well, that's hacktivists, that's nation-state. They are collapsing together. And as they're collapsing together, the hacks that they carry out are getting worse and worse and more impactful. So we've seen, for example, government hackers learning from Jake's news management techniques. The high point of this was the US presidential election, 2016. You'll know that during the presidential election, the Democrats got hacked, massively hacked, according to the FBI, by the Russian government. They broke into the Democrats, and they stole tens of thousands of really sensitive emails, really sensitive emails. So far, so hack. But it's what they did with them next that's really important. They didn't just take the emails and dump them. They selectively leaked them to make the maximum impact. Remember what Jake was doing with the media? They learned the same trick, and they applied the same trick. And the emails eventually ended up here, on WikiLeaks. So you all know WikiLeaks, the Julian Assange leak sites. The DNC, the Democrats' emails, ended up here. And here, the journalists could pick them up, filter through them, find the worst, most damaging stories about the Democrats, and put them in the media. And that's exactly what happened. But in a way, this isn't the important bit. The fact they stole emails, the fact they leaked them on WikiLeaks, that's not the important bit. The important bit is the date, 22nd of July, 2016. This date is the eve of the Democratic National Convention. The Democratic National Convention is when the Democrats come together, decide who's going to go to the White House, and push them on their way. It's a huge, hubristic event. Not that year. That year, it was a bloodbath. Because you see, on the eve of the convention, these damaging emails get leaked, and the journalists go through them, and the stories get worse and worse and worse. In that 1 week alone, the Democrats lost their chief executive, chairperson, chief marketing officer, and chief financial officer. In 1 week. It was a bloodbath. And the rest, I was going to say, is history. Unfortunately, the rest isn't history. It's a very uncomfortable present. Send her back, send her back. So that is governments learning from hacktivists. They're learning how to manage that news cycle. But they're also learning from organized crime. Evgeny, for example, one of his great innovations, one of the reasons he's such an innovative software developer, was he started to popularize ransomware. You'll have heard of ransomware. It's a virus. It scrambles your files. They charge you a ransom to get them back. Hands up if you have heard of ransomware, by the way. That's a good response. 3 years ago, not a hand in the house. Right, so we all know what ransomware is. It's not new. Evgeny didn't invent it. It's been around for years. Evgeny popularized it, and then the next thing we get is the WannaCry attack. You'll remember the WannaCry attack, 2017. It disproportionately hit the NHS. A third of trusts were affected. Half a dozen A&E departments had to turn people away. But what's interesting about WannaCry is the new bit. Because you see, the ransomware wasn't the new bit. The problem with ransomware is, imagine I want to infect you with ransomware. I can send you an email, and you might open it, or you might not. If you really want to spread your ransomware, if you really want to make the big bucks, you've got to work out a way to spread your ransomware automatically. So it just spreads and spreads and spreads. And what you really need is a super powerful piece of hacking software that will spread the virus from computer to computer to computer. Where do you get such a super powerful piece of hacking software? The answer is here, the National Security Agency, the US Government Spy Network. US government spies invented a tool that could spread viruses from computer to computer to computer. Pretty good, huh? Did they tell us about it so we could protect ourselves? No, they kept it to themselves. Although apparently not very well, because this tool leaks out onto the internet, and it was picked up by these guys. They're an organized crime gang called the Shadow Brokers. According to a lot of researchers, they're based in Russia. The Shadow Brokers stole the National Security Agency's auto-spreading tool. They applied it to ransomware, and the next thing you know, the North Koreans pick it up, and the rest is history. That's where the WannaCry attack started to happen.